Aloha! This is Hope Johnson with Wisdom Dialogues coming to you from the beautiful big island of Hawaii. This is actually my bedroom. Here it is. So, Wisdom Dialogues could be said to be about helping to see through self-doubt. It's the only thing that prevents us from seeing who we are as the source of everything. As the source of everything. And not as some object in the universe. See? That's what's fun. I have a hand. How exciting. Paul, okay. I'm opening your mic. Aloha, Paul.
Aloha, Hope. Hi. This
Hi.
this may sound like a weird question.
Okay.
So, I'm noticing as a male, looking for partners and potential partners is kind of really
Yes.
looking for mother. And I know that's
Interesting.
not, yeah, it's not really functional emotionally, but this piece that mother wasn't there enough, or when she wasn't there, no mother could ever really be there enough for anybody, I
Okay.
guess. And this feeling like you're looking for a partner, but subconsciously you're looking to fulfill something
Yes.
that is going to fulfill that old experience, and then looking for a partner is that could leave, or that might not be available, or that kind of is kind of dysfunctional.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's looking outward for what's really just a symbol, would be a symbol of this lack of completion that's felt within. It's like this idea that that completes you somehow.
Right.
Like there's no fulfillment without that. But it doesn't ever come it doesn't ever come from that. Doesn't ever come from worldly manifestations.
Right.
It's the opposite way around.
Yeah. So I guess you just notice, like, if you see the pattern, you just notice it.
Yeah, because it's waves of information. It's habitual waves of information. These uncomfortable, disharmonious feelings, that's all it is. So when it's received like that, then it kind of plays itself out. It's just allowed the space to be what it is because you can see that's what's going on. When you don't see what's going on and you get sucked into it, then you're trying to fix it, and it seems like getting a partner is what's necessary, and that's always a seeming, like whatever it is that you think that you want, it's like it's not always, it's not well, it's always really not the truth because of where that's coming from.
Yeah.
It's coming from a lack of trust that you have everything that you need and you can't be incomplete. So then, there's the end of that searching for that. Then there's a recognition that you have always been complete, and it doesn't matter if you have a partner or not.
Yeah.
Like, who would that matter to that you have a partner?
Just
Like, who would
just
that
your
even matter to?
just your thinking. Just thinking, that's all.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Just that thinking. It's like this narrative going, oh, this isn't right the way it is. It should be different. Then there's a seeking for it.
Yeah, or this should be a little bit better. So I've got to
Sure.
make bridge that gap, and this person will make this that much better.
Yeah, and all that's just a distraction from feeling exactly what's coming up right now.
Right. So let's say somebody is being with those feelings of what's coming up right now, and they're noticing. So now they're finding that they're not looking outside of themselves nearly as much.
Okay.
So they meet somebody, and that whole chemistry, romance thing was, I don't know, is that even still a factor?
Um, well, sure. I mean, that kind of stuff happens. You feel romantic and stuff like that, but it's a different kind of it's a different kind of romance because it doesn't have any attachment with it. It's like different from what most people know as romance is like this this thing that starts out all what is it? What is the word where people are just overly zealous about each other and all to a
Right.
crash where I hate them. I can't believe they did that, you know. That's like the kind of romance that I see people associating with romance, but you know the romance that's basically the relationship um you could say between consciousness and manifestation is is all is all, the only relationship there is. So no matter what it is, if it's a romantic relationship on the surface or what, that way of that way of love is the same. So it doesn't matter if we have a relationship that's particularly surfacely romantic, as in we're having sex and like that. You could say our relationships are romantic with everyone in the way that we're playful and not not taking each other as something something that we can use or something that we need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's romantic to me. So it's like there's romance with everyone, and then there's, in my case, like I got my partner husband Tony. So, and at the same time, that's not something that's necessary. I love it. It's very fun, and it's awesome, but it's not something that's necessary. Like it doesn't have to continue in order for me to be. In order for me to be basically free and happy and stoked and you know, basically in the source. As soon as we think we need something to be complete, then there's that's where the seeking starts,
Yeah.
and
Like
in
this
that
is
there's tension. What's that?
the same thing, like, oh, my business has to be different, or this has to be different, or where I live has to be different.
Yes, they're all just waves of information, patterned waves of information. When they're taken in like that, they reveal themselves. Let's say they reveal themselves to the light of consciousness. Then they don't have to carry on. They can't. They actually can't carry on. It's like they get burned away. Let's say that they get burned away.
Hmm. That's really telling the truth. That's really taking them for what they are. They're taking them for patterns of information. Okay, Right.
instead of something that's real, something that really means something.
And those patterns of information are really the whole purpose of the whole experience.
The purpose of the experience.
It's for those
Well,
patterns of information, right? It's
well,
it's to get.
I don't know about the purpose of the experience. I'm not sure I understand what that means, but the patterns of information are basically revealing themselves, showing themselves. We just allow that pattern of information to the space for to be experienced. Just experiencing it as a pattern of information and not as something that means something.
Yeah.
That's the healing. It's really could be said to be miraculous, as simple as it sounds.
Yeah. Hearing that, it's peaceful and it makes sense and it's grounding. And I'm hearing
Mhm.
this thinking that says, boring. This isn't feeding that addictive tendency to want something. Boring.
No, but it's not. And then, yeah, because then everything can be enjoyed, like whatever it is can just be enjoyed, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause the only thing that stops any experience from being enjoyed is believing thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Like we bring all the joy to the experience, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
the
And this
love
is the
to
path.
the
This is the
experience.
path to more joy. Just being with the sensations. It creates space for just being joyful with anything, whether it's peeling an orange or whatever it is.
Yes, it's a beautiful connection. It's romantic.
Right. Kind of like in the opposite sense of the word.
Well, the fun thing is, that being in that space is of you know feeling so connected like that. That's also something that's very attractive to a partner too. Just being in that space. It's kind of like we push the possibility of a partner away whenever we feel like that's what we need. See?
That's been my story.
Yeah, yeah. So if you receive those waves of information that say you need that as waves of information and not as confirmation that you need that, then that'll work out.
Right. Right.
See, that's
I
fun,
feel
huh?
bad. That means I really need it.
What what did you say?
I feel bad, so that means I really need it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that means you actually need it because you feel bad right now. That's funny,
Yeah.
huh?
Right, right, right.
Yeah, that basically means if there's an uncomfortable feeling like that, it means that whatever is being believed is totally untrue. Actually,
Right.
that's what's funny.
Well, that answers that, and that'll happen just when it happens.
Yeah, they like to say there's this one group around here where they practice this thing called access consciousness. They say one thing that's really awesome. They say, "I'll know what I need to know when I know it." No need to go looking for answers.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you too. I appreciate you. Beautiful to talk with you. Let me know if anything else comes up.
Okay. I
Okay.
will. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. So if anyone else would like to speak with me, please raise your hand. You could also type in questions. At the moment, I see no hands or questions, so I'll go on to the first question I have here in writing. And if anyone would like me to stop and talk to them, I'm super happy to do that. I love you. Thank you. Okay. When I do something I wish I hadn't done, I feel guilty and my mind races to fix the problem. How can I best relate with these thoughts? Okay. So when I do something I wish I hadn't done, that's another thing that it comes back to the same thing of it being a thought pattern. Okay, it comes as a wave of information. There's feeling. It's like a wave of this feeling and thoughts saying, I wish I hadn't done. And that comes from associating with a doer. That comes also like associating as a doer. Say it like that. So there's different thought patterns that get away, that ones that say, oh, I need to do this, and kind of like us just relating as if we are that object that we perceive, as if we are something that needs to do something or should have done something or anything like that. If there's relating like that, then there's gonna be this guilt thing where we do something, it's like, oh my God, how did I even do that? Now I feel so guilty. Um, so recognizing that as one of those patterns of information, and that could be very intense. That could be a very intense one. Like it's just like, oh, I know, I know what you mean. Oh, I know that one. The mind's racing to go, oh, I just want to fix that. Um, yeah, it's the same thing though. There's no real difference between um, these different patterns of information coming in. There's not like they're not unequal in any way. So it's just the same, just being with that. And as far as fixing the problem, those kinds of things, they're the responsibility of what I like to call the mechanical mind. The mechanical mind is kind of mathematic. It's kind of like this and this equals this, and it's fed, or it registers the mathematical equations based on feeling, based on how our feeling is. So it's like whatever manifests on the surface, that's only showing. That's only for awakening through. It's only for learning, you could say. Yeah. So it's only an opportunity to feel those sensations just like anything else. And if something comes up that seems like fixing the problem or whatever it is that comes, and it results in a connection between us and the one we feel guilty about doing something, that'll come along in a beautiful way, all on its own, just where there's giving the space to feel that guilty feeling, to let the mind race, let the guilty feelings be felt, let all that happen, and not need to be not need to be as the one that did anything. Kind of like taking a step back. It's called detachment too. Okay. So seeing it as something that is playing out on an emotional pattern and feeling those sensations is how to best relate with everything, just to let it play out. If it plays out in a space of awareness, that's how it gets healed. Okay? And then it's kind of like magically we find ourselves not having to do things that make us feel guilty. You know, those kinds of things. That's just the playing out of the mind. Okay, so if anyone would like to elaborate on that one or have any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to the next question. I'm feeling depression. I understand the bottom line is it's not real. I also was feeling like I had lost compassion in a sense, feeling like none of it's real. Okay. So it seems like here the one that's feeling depression is being taken as real, though. You know, so if the one that's feeling depression is being taken as real, then there's not compassion for that experience. There's not compassion in that experience, and that's why it feels like we lost compassion. Because it's like if there's an identification as this one that's feeling depression, then then it's like you're lost. And it's like yeah, there's feelings of depression arising, but the one that's feeling depression is based on a thought process. It's a product of the mind, not who we are. Lori's hand is up. Hooray. Aloha,
Hi.
Lori. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Um, I was on a different, I was listening to you, but I was on a different thing and I was listening to the guilt one just before you read that.
Okay.
And you were talking about feeling it. And I just wanted to reiterate something that happened this weekend for me because my granddaughter is, her mom has kind of basically walked out of her life and said that she doesn't, she actually said in front of her, she's 8, that she
Okay.
doesn't want her anymore.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
have taken over, my son and us, my Peter and I have taken over,
Uh-huh.
and um, she's doing very well. I don't have a problem with her. And when my mom, nobody has a problem with this kid except the mom. And one of my non-dual teachers was on Facebook put a meme. How many disappointments do you have to go through before you realize the peace is already there, or the peace is always there? I don't know, something like that. So I
Okay.
wrote about, I didn't say any names. I just said how I wrote, how I have been dealing with all this, and I'm not blaming anyone for, I know it's all thoughts that she's coming from. She has no control over what she's thinking and how she's reacting. I see it clearly.
Okay.
And that's what I wrote because I feel there's no blame here. It's
Okay.
just what's happening.
Uh-huh.
Well, she saw it.
Okay.
How the frig she saw that is beyond me because this guy has nothing to do with her. But obviously she was supposed to because I automatically, when she sent me a nasty text,
Mm-hmm.
using a lot of words, that I just, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't didn't think anybody would be able." I didn't use any names or whatever, and I said I'll delete it. So I did, and she went on to say more anyway. But I felt when the first text came through, there was
Yeah.
all this heat
Yes. Yes.
and oh my God, I did something wrong. And that,
Oh.
oh, I watched all of this
Mm.
going on
Yeah.
inside, but I did
Great.
not react. I just sat there and felt
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Nice.
then the mind started saying, okay, nobody did anything wrong here. There's nothing wrong. It's just, and then there was automatic reaction to apologize and say,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'll take it off. And and then the next text that came through was more in depth, and I just didn't reply to it. And
Uh-huh.
it, oh my God, what the hell?
Uh-huh.
That was the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Things can things can just come and they arise and then they just pass away and it's like they get shorter and they get to be less intense. That's what I notice.
Yes, it's
Hmm.
a miracle.
Yeah, and ultimately too, what I notice, in my own experience, like all of us, all of us become so much closer through those experiences.
Yes, I really want to reach out to her. She knows that I don't blame her. She knows she's talked to me enough. I don't, my mouth is always going. So she knows we're always been here for her no matter what. And I don't have any anger, no resentment, no nothing.
Hmm.
Wow.
It just is out how it is.
I, I I'm just in awe of it.
Yeah, it's
I,
lovely.
anyway, I just wanted to thank you because a lot of it is your help and your being able the way you come across. It's very easy for me to follow what you say. It's not no question. Except
Oh,
for the
well, fun.
last week during the blizzard, I did go, "What the hell was that?" But
I
when I
know. That was fun. Like
listened
talking
back,
under your breath.
well, Peter was sitting here next to me. I was like, "What the hell?" So, but I re-listened to it, and it clicks.
Nice.
It's clicking.
Great.
Everything is clicking. Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
it.
beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you again.
Fantastical. Thank you too. Aloha.
Aloha.
I always have a super fun time talking with you, so anyone wants to raise your hand, please go ahead. Okay, so back to I'm feeling like depression, or I'm feeling depression. I understand the bottom line is it's not real. Yeah, so feeling, identifying with the one who's depressed. That's not seeing out of it. Lost a sense of, lost compassion in a sense because the sense of compassion is kind of like covered up. It's kind of covered up when there's identification as the one who's depressed. Okay? It's more like this wave is is arising, and it it seems like depression, maybe something like that. It's just something that it's just some feeling that's coming up, and it's being interpreted a certain way. Okay, as if it as if it's as if whatever reason for the depression is the reason for it. It's just a feeling that is kind of habitual. You can even call it addictive. It identifies that I. It really identifies that I. It identifies us as a body. Feeling like none of it's real. Yeah, except the one, the one who's impressed. Intuitively, I know it's just flowing through me and it's not who I am. Awesome. Did you go through something like this? Okay. Um, hmm. I can't particularly remember that 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 way, but there's all different things that come up. The point is though that they're all equal. Whatever it happens to be that says that something's not wrong or there's incomplete or anything like that, it's all the same. It's all just a pattern of information manifesting itself, being manifested. It's just if it's taken as what it really is, which is the honest way of taking it, then it plays itself out. Anything that's not necessary like that. Okay? I am very angry and hateful toward my parents. Not only do I suffer, but I also make it quite unbearable for them. Whenever we get together, I seem to hold on to the resistance as a way of protecting myself, which is turning my life into hell. Wow. All right. Instead of living from my own truth, I spend my days trying to find permanent ways of freeing myself from them, which I realize is going to happen like black and white clarity. I will eventually stay in touch with them, and I really desire to free myself and them from the pain we have been going through. How beautiful! That is so lovely. That's a wonderful one. Um, yeah, that's a wonderful place to be. There's a huge opportunity right here. This is what has been called an ancient pattern of hatred coming up. It's like there's this anger and hatred isn't really for parents. There's not really parents there like that are separate. Whatever kind of guilt is being held against the parents it never leaves from where it's being projected, from the mind where it's being projected. It's like a boomerang. It comes right back. The anger and hatred ends up being cast on the body mind. Okay, the perceived separate body mind. Basically making it be perceived even more separate. Okay, not only do I suffer, but I also make it quite unbearable for them. Okay, so that suffering can lead to amazing transformation if it's looked upon truthfully. The kind of suffering that seems like we've been victimized and we need to take it out on another person, that's not honest suffering. It's kind of like acting. It's kind of like acting. I mean, when that sensation of suffering comes up, there's just willingness to see. There's just willingness to say, hey, kind of like question that and go, I must be missing something here. I must be seeing something amiss here. If I think I suffer because of someone, okay, if I really think that they are the cause of my anger and hate, this anger and hate, they're causing that. All it is another one of those patterns of information that's been practiced a lot and taken as true. So if it's taken as something that's true, that it has to do that, in healing, the parents themselves, they completely disappear. In healing something like this, with something like this, it's just sensing that anger and hatred in our own body, basically in the energy body, sensing that anger and hatred and allowing it the space to be. And that ends the suffering right there, or at least gives some comfort to where the suffering is, to alleviate it. There's like an upliftment. There's an upliftment of energy where there's a space to allow this anger and hatred that's really for basically our mind-made self. So it's for ourself. That's the only thing that's making the illusion of suffering. Okay, and then there's no need to make anything unbearable for anyone. When there's just a willingness to see that we can't be perceiving it truthfully. We must be making something up about it if we feel angry and hateful toward a person, because that's really impossible. Okay? They're the same as us, and they're only love. The relationship is only love. Anything else we made about it is an illusion. And I can relate to this one. It's like it was a very painful process. I could say that just being with those sensations in my own experience changed everything. So where there's just no problem with parents anymore. Because there's really no parents. That's not really a true thing. That's just something that we make up. It's a role. It's almost like they're supposed to be a certain way or parent or something. And it's all just that mathematical mind playing out. We don't have to care whether people fulfill their roles or not. Doesn't matter. Not only do I suffer, but make it unbearable for them. Okay. I seem to hold on to the resistance as a way. Yeah. Okay, so that's a big one for the ego to say, look, you need this resistance so that you don't get hurt again. You don't want to get hurt again. Right? And and that's believed to be the solution when it's really like basically the highway to hell. You know, to use the same Turkish terminology, they said, which is turning my life into hell. Yeah, because that's the highway to hell, protecting ourselves. You know, as if someone can operate outside of who we are to do something to us. We're totally making the thing up. Okay. We're seeing as we already believe. Let's put it that way. Seems to be the other way around, but we're seeing as we already believe. I will eventually stay in touch with them. Well, there's no need to know what's going to happen eventually, you know. And I really desire to free myself and them. Well, that's a beautiful thing, because, you know, that's exactly what goes on, you know, when there's this willingness to see it how it really is, instead of the conventional way of seeing things, the conditioned way of seeing things. Then, you know, instantly we're free, and we become the space of freedom where they can find that rest as well. Paul would like to speak with me. How fun. Aloha,
Thank you.
Paul.
Hi again.
Hi.
So here's a situation that if you can help me figure out what's going on in my thinking, that would be really great.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Okay. So I've been having a situation where the places that I live, it's like it feels great for a while, and 6
Yeah.
months later, get a noisy neighbor move in with like heavy bass or something going on where I can't. And I work and live at home, so I'm there a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like this pattern, like it keeps happening. Like
Yes.
my last place, 6 months, it's heaven. I'm saying, I want to stay here forever. And then a neighbor moves in and it's really noisy. And it's like, oh crap, I gotta move. And then that was before that, it was like a condo where I had to move because there's an inconsiderate neighbor. And I'm now in a situation where, okay, I'll buy a detached house so I don't have to have the noise problems. And then, okay, so now there's like 7 people moving next door.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I totally know this one. It's like, yeah, this was something that was very prevalent in my own experience too. And you know, this kind of thing, it becomes so obvious. At least it did in my experience. It became so obvious that it was just so ripe to be used for healing. It was such a beautiful thing, you know. It's like when I first moved in here, my neighbor plays really loud music, you know,
Yeah.
and at first, like when I was just if I just wanted to take a nap or I felt tired or whatever, and it's like really loud and you could hear it, and you know, there's just an instance where I just allowed all of that music and all of that sound, what I was hearing, to vibrate in my body, to just come through my body and my energy body as waves. And you know, it's funny, I fell asleep to that. And then after that, it stopped being any kind of annoyance for me. And then, you know, the same thing with other things, like as far as living situations. I noticed that there's patterns that started at a certain time where like, oh, why do they have to be so? If it would only be better if I could just move, you know, to the point where I'm like calling the cops, asking them to quiet the place down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's funny because you know, once you recognize that it's a pattern and it's just allowed to play out as a pattern through your own body, it becomes a total non-issue.
So let's say it's driving you crazy, or there's deep bass and you're sensitive to it, and it just makes you feel like uptight, and it's going on, and it keeps happening, and it's kind of it's the thinking about it that's driving me crazy. If I'm feeling like it's really hurting me, I know it's my thinking.
Yeah.
But you know, and there's some things that I can just hang with and tolerate and be with, and there's some things that are beyond a place where I can really be there, and it becomes suffering.
Yeah,
or at least
basically there's no
at least
gratitude there.
yeah,
In gratitude, there's joy. In gratitude, there's joy.
yeah.
Yeah, I also had a situation. I live right next to a geothermal plant,
Mhm.
and they started drilling right behind my house, and we're on lava rock. So when they're drilling, we can feel it, like the, and we can hear it and feel it. So I was up in the middle of the night and started to notice some thoughts about like victimization, because this is where I live, and oh, now I have to put up with this, and I'm like, oh, cool, okay, this is awesome. And so just allowing that the actual feeling of the vibrating rock and the sensations and the thoughts, just that space to be with it, it just made it a complete non-issue for me.
So I
It
could
just
like,
became a non-issue.
uh, so I could do it in doses. Let's say there was nonstop bass for 6 hours. Okay, I could say, okay,
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
not going to take it on for 6 hours, but I can take it on for 10 minutes. Then I can go for a bike ride or jump in the car, come back, take it on for another 15 minutes, just let it vibrate in me. And I can just play with that. I can do it in manageable chunks.
yeah, yeah. That sounds fun. Just
Yeah,
notice that you're not the one doing any of that stuff either.
right.
Yay! It's just all playing out so beautifully.
Because I could go into planning for it. I could say, okay, so let's say I had to move every year. Okay, so let's minimize my staff, get to where I'm not owning, I'm renting, and I can sublet places. I can be nimble. I can be so fluid to
Yeah.
move around. And I could play that, but that's not really being with the problem, but it's solving it at another level.
Yeah, it's kind of eager and playful just to see where things are going without an attachment for where they go here or there. I noticed that's how it was like um when I started dating Tony, my husband. I was just in the attitude like, let's see where this goes. And that's how it is for pretty much everything. Let's say everything, business, kids, whatever. It's not like it has to be a certain way. The only time we feel disappointed is when our projections aren't met. And
So maybe I'm
projections are
thinking,
really meaningless. What's that?
right. So you're saying I could think, okay, now I'm in a place I can be for the next 20 years. Awesome. Now I'm set. Okay, there's the projection, right? So life is
Uh-huh.
just like rocking that around, saying, no, man, you're supposed to jump on a plane, maybe go to Thailand, or maybe you're supposed to bike down the street, do your client calls on your cell phone, or go to the library or something, right? It could be
Well,
like shaking.
you could just be guided in the moment. You could just be guided in the moment
Hmm,
without any agenda.
right. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah. All the other stuff, all the planning and all that stuff, that's of school. It takes place on the surface. Just let it. Just let yourself be guided in the moment. That's all.
There's a little bit of excitement with that. It's kind of fun when you say it like that.
Good. It is. It's really fun.
And I guess that's the whole point, right? Because if you can get to that feeling,
Yeah, I mean, because that's what we really are. That joy and fun and that, spark of
so I feel,
divine presence.
I feel like a turkey. Like I'm having the same problem over and over again. Like in the sauna saying, man, what's with you, dude?
Yeah, because that's another identification as a thought process.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're the one that's repeating something. All there is to do is see that this is what it is. This is a repeating pattern, and it's not what it seems to be on the surface. Right now, not before and not later, just right now. Because seeing through it is only instantaneous. It's only right now. Seeing through the thoughts, they're circulating the mind, they're coming up, and seeing through whatever it is just right now.
So I'm feeling the bass if it comes, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking, okay, there's something deeper, there's something else going on. It's not about this, not, it's not about what appears to be happening on the surface. And I just play with
exactly.
that, noticing. and I just
exactly. Like,
let it rock me
yeah,
out and vibrate and
yes, yes, exactly. There's a there's there's a vibration of peace in every in every energy body, let's say. There's a vibration of peace there that's available. And it's just a matter of creating the space for whatever is going on, and it's almost like a great comfort for whatever is happening. And that thing, however fearful, however tense it may feel, it begins to relax and kind of sink into that comfort,
hmm, hmm.
that place of comfort.
Yeah, there is something going on beneath the surface.
Yes, yes, that's for everything. That's for everything. It's like, and it's funny because it was right, the drill was right behind our house, and and on top of the sound and the vibration of it, there would be people telling me, well, that's only the first phase. The next phase is they're gonna gas you out. Basically make you subject to illness. And so then there was that kind of energy arising too that was also just welcomed like that. And the interesting thing on the surface is that they ended up abandoning that well. It totally didn't work out. And so they like moved away, moved somewhere else.
It's
That was
like the
fun.
deeper thing here is like that wearing like the showing where I can relax into
Yes,
places I never thought I could, to
exactly.
notice that because the thinking is saying this is going on, you're not safe, you're not okay. It's
Yes,
showing me that beneath anything that looks like that, there's this security that I could just sink into and relax into anywhere, anytime, anyhow.
yes. Yes, because everything is going right. I can't go another way.
Right,
One way of saying it.
right.
Can't go
And it doesn't
another
mean
way for
and it
you.
doesn't mean I'll be in this spot or this house. Who knows what'll happen the next moment?
Yes,
I'm just riding the wave.
exactly. It'll all be perfect. It'll all be a gift, whatever it is.
Who knows?
Yep.
Maybe it'll be your neighbor across the street.
That would be badass. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
too. I love you. Thanks for talking with me again.
Thank you.
Aloha. All right, if you would like to speak with me, please raise your hand. I noticed there was a hand up before and now it's down. If you'd like to raise it again, I will open your mic and it'll be a lot of fun. Okay. Okay. Instead of living from my own truth, I spend my days trying to find permanent ways of freeing myself from them. Okay, so that's just the same thing. That's more of the same thing. It doesn't matter how it plays out. The story doesn't really matter. I will eventually stay in touch with them, and I really desire to free myself. Okay, okay. So I think we're good on that one. Oh, and then Scott asked, please repeat how you became grateful, okay, with the drilling in the lava field. Oh, good. Just noticing that it is a gift because of the sensations that are coming up in response to it. It's not as if it caused those sensations. It's just justifying them. It's trying to justify them like this is the reason for those sensations, but that's never true. The reason for those sensations is basically addiction to being a separate individual. It doesn't have anything to do with the lava field. So that's number one, noticing that it has nothing to do with that. Okay. So whenever thoughts came up about calling someone or writing a letter or anything like that, just let them be. It's not like saying no, I'm not going to do that, or yes, I am going to do that. Just let it see where it goes, see where it plays out. In my case, none of that became necessary. It doesn't matter either way. Um, and and looking at it like a great opportunity, like a really great opportunity, because I could feel the heat of all these uncomfortable sensations arising and just letting all the vibrations, everything that I could feel just be there. and and I could feel how freeing it was, you know, because there's a sensation of kind of like being in bondage, being victimized like that, as if something can bring on this kind of uncomfortable emotion from outside in the world. No, it's just not true. So yeah, and then it just became okay. You know, even the thought where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear the drill and feel the sensations, and that thought that says I'm awake because of the drill. And it's like, that's not true. And just recognizing that it's not true, that that thought is not true. It was very powerful. It almost seemed like it blew my mind. That's not, because that's not why. That's not the reason. Okay. All right. So last one that I've written. I feel bad that I'm not doing anything for poor people and people being tortured, etc. Hello, Ron. Ron's here. Don't we have some responsibility for helping them achieve a better quality of life? I love this one. So, hey, Ron, will you give me some water? That'll be awesome of you. So, yes, it is our responsibility. It's our total responsibility, just not like that. Okay? Because it's like, it starts out with, I feel bad that I'm not doing anything. And, you know, it goes along with that thought that's looking for some way of expressing responsibility. But the feeling bad in itself is not helping. It doesn't, feeling bad for them or about them, or guilty that we're not doing what we should be doing about it, that really doesn't, that really does the opposite. Even if we happen to be expressing it with charitable giving, or even our own, you know, bodies over there helping people or whatever, if we're carrying around this idea that somehow they are being imposed upon by the world, or they're, you know, not being supported in the world and stuff like that, we're buying into an illusion, because they're living out exactly what they want on some level. And there's definitely a total responsibility for that, as far as when there's a perception like that and it seems to create a disturbance in our energy body, feeling bad, sad, anything like that. That's an opportunity for a healing. And a lot of the times we miss the healing because we indulge in feeling bad and miss that opportunity. Or we'll push away the feeling bad or indulge in it, either way, and miss that opportunity for healing. What it really is an opportunity arising, and to just allow that sensation of whatever bad feeling comes, and for it to be okay. And that is the healing. That does open the way for every eye to see that we are the source of all power. There's not anything else. There's not anything else affecting us. This is all a matter of believing it. It's all something that we made out of belief. So if we re-believe that people are victims, we keep re-believing it when that thought comes dancing across our awareness, well, then all that's happening there is reinforcing that same thought pattern that manifests as things like poor people and people being tortured. Reinforcing those same kind of belief patterns. There's the responsibility for compassion right there in our own energy body. Compassion can only be shared through our own energy body. It has to be allowed within it. We can only give as we've allowed ourselves to receive, like that. Okay? So, hooray! That's the end of the written questions. At the moment, I don't see any hands and I don't see any more questions. And now I see a hand. Hooray! Yulia. Aloha, Yulia.
Aloha, Hope. I just jumped on the opportunity here with the raising of the hand.
All right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
again, thank you for everything. It is all so liberating and exciting.
Wonderful. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that.
Yes, definitely. Just wanted to talk a little bit. You said about we talked a little bit about depression earlier and the different, I guess, the sense of anxiety or depression or anything like that that sometimes just arises, maybe.
Yes,
So
it's
I
like a
wonder, I
pattern
may have
coming
gotten a glimpse of what to do with that today, as in, if you can describe it as doing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Because I do have that as well. Sometimes it's more like this unease or anxiety
Yes,
arises, and it will.
yes.
With me, it's particularly when I'm not busy, when I don't have, a lot of work, and I'm a freelancer, so I'm always excited when I have a lot of work, and when I don't, I used to get really scared and go into these
Uh-huh.
almost panic periods, but they always ended. So, and it's not just that, then there could be something else, then it'll become like a whole tangle, like a whole ball of yarn, of different things, like the sense of victimization by this and that, the unease of thinking that I would be disappointed or dissatisfied with something else in life. And sometimes it just arises and it won't go away. And it get really physical, I can feel it with my breath pattern, with everything else. And it's almost
Yeah.
independent of what I do. So I kind of uh, think I was able to kind of transform it today, whereas I didn't really run from it, and not that I wallowed in it, but kind of allowed myself to feel it, like you say. It's
Okay.
just so
Uh-huh.
difficult to describe.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So I guess that's what you do, right?
It's so simple. There's not even really a doing. It's more like you just see that you see what it for what it is, and it's just allowed to play itself out. It's just allowed to be there playing itself out, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And and the and even if there does seem to be someone doing it, that's okay. That's okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so, and sometimes there might be seem to be someone doing it, and sometimes might seem to be going into it, and kind of following that hook into being in delusion and not feeling instead going into the mind.
I know I kept telling myself, like, wait, you're getting caught up. You want this person to do this or that, but it's
Yeah,
not them. Wait a minute,
yeah, yeah. So you're watching that thought process play out. So awesome.
But then I
You know,
get caught with this trick, with this trap sort of, whenever I do something like that successfully, I I like tend to get what I want. And then I start expecting, oh, wait a minute, I'm gonna, approach this right, and then something will happen that I want. So I'm starting to worry that I'm getting kind of caught up in that, in wanting
yeah,
to produce effects.
yeah. There's nothing to worry about. Just noticing that even the worry, it could be allowed to be there. It's just noticing that these things like worry, it has no justification. It pretends to be justified. Like when worry comes up, it pretends like it has a reason. Like I'm worried because of this. And that's not really the truth. Worry is just arising because it's been arising for a long time and it's a habit.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it gets fed as if it's real.
Yeah, and another thing is with the making decisions and taking action, because what we talk about has nothing to do with choosing any particular actions or decisions, right?
That's
They
right.
kind of arise too, and they happen too.
Yes,
So
they happen just like anything
yeah,
else. That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And we talked about the sense of victimization as well in children last time I spoke with you.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
entirely free of that. It's still, I still get that, again, worry, which is not justified, of course, but it's still there that my kids that are 20 and almost 22 are like never gonna go anywhere. They're just gonna sit here and play on their computers. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, maybe I should take some action, but maybe the spontaneous action will arise once my view of this and the attitude to it is aligned with,
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've noticed. It's like if it seems like something needs to be done based on an uncomfortable emotion that's being felt, there will be sort of like a waiting and listening and and feeling at peace with it, and then from that peaceful feeling then maybe some kind of action arises and maybe not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I
But
have experienced this recently where I made certain decisions and I felt this very, very subtle sense of relief. I mean, they were
uh-huh.
like not easy decisions or situations, but then at some point you feel that it's really, really subtle and like, wow, it's good,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
somewhere
Mhm.
deep underneath other stuff.
Yep.
So that was really cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So did you
Great.
have anything else for me, Yulia?
Nothing right now.
Okay, lovely. Well, it was so fun speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Was really awesome for me too. I can't get enough. Thank you. Yeah,
Great.
well, sometimes I just listen to it in the car. It helps, it does something. It works.
Sweet.
Reminds me of things I forget, I guess.
Sure, sure. Well, there's so much programming toward what is being basically the illusion, the big pretense that everyone is engaged in, pretty much everyone is engaged in. It's like these constant reminders can really help to shift the perception. They really help to show that this is not true. The more it's seen that this is not true, then the more the true perception can arise.
That's
You know.
exactly it. That's why I'm saying I can't get enough because every once in a while you get pulled back
Hmm.
the old habits.
Yes, yes. I noticed that, like in my own experience, the the thoughts automatically turn toward contemplation. There's not a whole lot of other thought about other stuff, like stuff going on in the world and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You know, there's a business being run and there's kids and everything like that, but there's way fewer thoughts about that kind of stuff. And my thoughts are all automatically kind of guided to contemplation, just like when I'm sunbathing or I'm walking down the street or I'm driving or something like that. And that kind of those kinds of thoughts um, are peaceful and joyful and liberating. So
Hmm.
it's like it allows for it kind of like sets the stage for any kind of uncomfortable emotion to arise and just be welcomed with peace.
Hmm. Well,
So
this made something else come up.
yeah, what was that?
Well, it's great that you're, married and you have a family and all that, because it's
Yeah,
cool to ask you questions about that, right?
great. I
So
love
I
that.
feel like all of my life I've, had this constant dissatisfaction with relationships in various forms.
Okay.
And so on one hand, I think I have like a deep pattern or some sort of unconscious, semi-conscious belief that it, will all not work out right and will always be bad on one hand and maybe can't be possible. You can't get satisfaction out of relationships. It's all a mistake. On
Uh-huh.
the other hand, I have a total opposite of that because I keep searching and keep thinking that, it'll be better. And then I keep
Yeah.
blaming myself because, oh, that can't be true too because I'm wrong. So what is your take on it and how is it for you, living as a married woman with children?
Well,
Can
it's
it
really
really,
fun.
can it really be all good?
What?
Can it really be happy?
Oh yeah, I get asked that a lot of times. Like, can you really have number one a monogamous relationship that's healthy, or a relationship, a happy marriage with kids? And like we're all kind of just like kids, kind of like playing. Yeah, it's really fun. It's
Mm,
really fun.
mm,
It's like me and my husband are in these roles of parents, and we
mm,
kind of just like laugh about it.
mhm,
And it's like it's not like things don't happen. Like our kids get their food, and they learn and they do stuff. They go to their sports and stuff like that. But it's like we're just playing around. But it's like we're not like spoiled little kids either, as far as no, I don't want to do that. Like we're just super happy and grateful for the things that arise in our experience. Like when someone goes, oh, I want to play soccer. I like to go to soccer practice, a couple times a week, and we're, basically soccer practice around here. It's like 45 minutes away.
mhm,
So it's like oh, okay, fun. And so we just like whatever we're doing, we know we're the ones that bring the fun, and we're the ones who bring the joy to it. So
mhm,
it's not like we're like, no, no, I don't want that experience, or oh no, I don't want to feel um, that sensation that I feel when I perceive you doing that, whatever it is.
mhm,
And it's really fun to provide a lot of opportunities for awakening the mind, for healing the mind, as far as, just that kind of thing. Like, I really wish you would do it different. That feeling like I really wish you would do it different. And, it's like just recognizing that that's a pattern, that dissatisfaction is a pattern, and
mhm,
receiving it like that. And then we all become very accepting and playful with each other.
mhm. Yeah,
We're
but
all allowed to be.
this also has the parenting roles. For me, that's kind of over. Because my kids are, in their early 20s. I've been divorced with their father and out of touch for a long time, so that's like not an issue in partnership for me. Now,
Okay.
partnership is, kind of like more for me or my own sake or for the sake of the partnership.
Yeah, I mean, any
I
kind of
wonder
any.
if without that kind of joint and common, purpose as kids, that's how real is it that it can be lasting?
What you mean without what you because you don't have that common purpose of kids?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that I don't know if that really has anything to do with it.
Mhm.
That's just like making something up as having something to do with it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that really has anything to do with it. It What's that?
I see. I'm saying, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So every relationship, every coming together, apparent coming together of bodies, or any other relationship like we're having right now over the internet and stuff, it's it's like it's all for one purpose, and it's all for the purpose of healing. So it's like we don't have our own separate purpose for it. Like we don't go, okay, since I'm married to you, that means that you have to do this, 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 and this. Or since you're my kid, that means you have to go to this school, even though you really want to go to a different school because I know better than you.
Mm.
That kind of stuff. It's like relating out of fear, or we relating out of basically equality,
Mhm.
you know. Is equality, like equally, each one is equally powerful, each one is equally loving, equally the one, only one, you
Mhm.
know.
Mm.
So we could just relate in fun without any kind of strings attached.
Mhm.
We could just relate in fun with like that, even with our kids and everything,
Mhm.
whether they're grown or not.
Mhm. I see.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Yeah, I love you. Aloha.
I love you too. Aloha.
Does anyone else have anything for me? So much fun being with you today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so, so much. Thank you so much for being with me on Wisdom Dialogues. And until next Tuesday, hui ho and aloha.